Nothing's going to change over there. It's like the place that time forgot. It's just got worse, I think. I mean, I love the guy, he's my dad and all, but I'm not going to change him, so I just let him do his thing.
My brother Stacy says the backyard has changed for the worse. For me, it's home.
So see, you've been here at the house. You've seen a lot of the stuff collected from even the mid-90s. We didn't have a lot of this stuff around here. You have seen us, your mom and I, in a different perspective than your siblings have done.
When I was 12, I stopped inviting my friends over to my house. I don't know what I was afraid of, but I didn't want them to see my dad's backyard. That's when I realized that my dad keeps a lot of things. And I do too. My room is cluttered with pieces of my life. But since I studied abroad in Scotland, I noticed just how many souvenirs, knickknacks, and memories I hold on to. But the thing that scares me the most is that I'm starting to agree with my brother Stacy. My dad grew up during the aftermath of the Great Depression, and his parents would utilize everything they had as much as they could.
My dad was the painter at that time, and that's what I've known about all my life is with the painting. So when you're painting, you can generate a little bit of extracurricular stuff anyway. Some things that can be reused. When I quit painting, and I've got enough things now, I can put things together, fix your chicken coops, and fix a lot of little things around because I've got materials to do it with. But I haven't been taking the time to do it.
Time, change, and memories are interconnected like a spider's web. If you tug on one edge of the web, it affects the entire structure. If you remove time from a memory, you lose context. If you remove change from time, you are doomed to stagnation. By learning more about time, change, and memories from my family, especially from my dad, I hope to not feel so trapped. Although time is universal, everyone experiences it differently. For some, it's beginning, and for others, it's ending. But no one seems to have enough of it.
If Dad had more time, well, according to Dad, if he had more time, he would be helping me take care of some of the stuff around here. It's like he says, he's still working, which he is still working, and I say, well, then you could still clean out the shop. Then we come back to the battle. Well, I don't have the time.
They got as much time as everybody else, but
Yeah, it's true.
and if they wanted help, but if they wanted things to do, help has been offered, help could have been happening. They just don't want to do anything. They don't want to change anything. They want to leave it just the way it is, so that's the way it stays. So anything you could do that's useful, you can't do nothing. I mean, he has all these ideas. They're gonna redo the porch out back. They're going to redo the little cellar thing out back. He's going, nothing. Their time is done to do anything. It's over.
Change happens in two ways. One is tangible and the other is abstract. We experience both changes, and some are more noticeable than others. Change requires time. They go hand in hand.
Change can be good and it can be bad, but depending on the situation. Sometimes you think it's not helping you and it is really helping you. It can be either way, but it's happening, and so you need to put your mindset to it.
I fear the unknown that change can bring, the vulnerability and the scariness of it.
When I was younger, I had a lot of energy, I had good health, but now I'm getting older and I'm not as strong as I used to be, and my hands are getting funny, and that's kind of a challenge. I mean, that's a real bummer, in fact, but that's change. So then I start getting this thing in my head thinking, I don't have a lot of time left here. I got to get this stuff done. Then it goes back to having the time to get the stuff done.
So there's a lot of these changes, some of these things, one thing depends on another a little bit. Whether it's time involved or you lack one part that you need or one little bit you need to finish the project.
I think my dad sees all his projects as linked together, and one project can't be started until another is finished. But where one starts and the other ends is blurry. My dad retains things based on a utilitarian ideology, where he favors and keeps objects based on how useful or practical they are now or will be someday. He's not worried about how attractive or logical these items are, just that they can be useful someday.
I knew that your grandpa, he worked, in the paints and all that. I didn't have an idea that your dad was going to hold on to all the empty paint cans and all the stuff like that, because he can always see a use for anything.
His thing with second use, he might have good intentions to keep it, he could use it again, but then he'll leave it out in the rain, he'll leave it out with the bugs.
Those are very good knives.
Those are not knives.
That will cut your hand. What do you mean? What is it doing? It's cutting. It's a knife. Look at that. Perfect.
So weird. I can appreciate my dad's ability to see beyond an item's potential, but most of the things he owns are past their prime. I'm on the opposite side of this ideology. I retain my objects based on their sentimentality and the emotions and nostalgia that are attached to them. Both me and my dad have a lot of stuff that we hold on to. We like being surrounded by our memories, and in a way I think it's because we imprint our memories onto objects, which makes it so much harder to get rid of anything.
So the question is, so is change hard? Kind of is sometimes. You got these things you don't want to just, but yet you're thinking here, really, why do I want this? But it's just something to look at that brings you memories. It's like I tell you kids, it's all about the experience and the memories.
At this point, they have memories that when you see them and look at them, they help your memories over your past years a little bit anyway. That's what some of the things that you accumulate do, is help to create memories.
I agree with my dad. It's hard for me to throw away possessions because it's equivalent to throwing away my memories. In my ideal world, change wouldn't happen all at once. Like time, change would happen gradually. It gives us time to cope, ponder, experiment, and experience at our own pace. When I was barely a teenager, my family tried to throw away a lot of Dad's stuff while he was gone.
I had things here by the house. I came home one day and all of it was, a good share of it was thrown in the dumpster.
My dad is typically mild-mannered, but he was furious that day. He was like a dragon protecting his treasure.
Well, and you've got these people that come. They are into change, but they're into change like whoo. And he's kind of into change, but he's into a change like.
I started removing a few things from the dumpster, and it ended up having a peace officer come over to settle the dispute a little bit.
For the first time, my family was truly divided, and I feared it would spiral apart.
If you move something of someone else's without them knowing it, eventually they'll come to that spot where that was, and they'll see you, and they wonder what happened to it. Where did it go? And if you find out, well, it just got moved over to another place and you still got it, that's one thing. If you find out that they've thrown it away, you could have a conversation, a verbal conversation with them. Or you could let it go and not let it interfere with the relationship you might have.
You know, what's more important? The change of reaching a goal that it looks, or the change of having somebody come and do that and then have a complete change of his whole psyche. That's more of an invasion than a help sometimes, I think, to him. If he's there and he says yes, you know, help me load the, or help me do this, or that's one thing. But for them to come in just to pick and throw it, no, that would not probably work.
Since this incident, no one wants to start cleaning up anything. As a way to keep the peace, my mom won't start to do anything, and my dad won't either. Everyone has reached a stalemate. To an extent, I understand how my dad feels. Family have threatened to clean out my room while I've been away, and it stresses me out. My dad's shop is a black hole. Ever since my family acquired it, it's been Dad's, and he carries the only key.
I haven't been in that shop for probably 15 years or more. I haven't even seen the door open.
I'm going to have to go through the window when I need to. Since you're not going to give me the key, can I have a key?
Well, I told Ashley if it's around here and you can't find me sometime, probably in there and maybe got buried in an avalanche.
You could have been. You're probably contaminated.
In a way, my dad's shop symbolizes everyone's mind and self. No one can truly see inside unless invited.
Well, I couldn't get into it.
You what?
And once inside, it can be unbelievable.
I had everything in here out of the weather. That was a whole bunch of National Geographics. Got rained on.
See, this is the farthest I've been in the shop ever.
I see my dad caught in utilities web, whereas I'm settled into nostalgia's web. But the problem is not the web. A spider's web is not inherently good or bad. The problem is how much time we spend trapped.
Ew, look at the dust coming off of that.
Is everyone just caught in their own web without even knowing it?
There's all sorts of stuff you haven't even seen that's been in here.
I've seen it quite a few times.
I've learned a lot so far about myself and my dad, but the journey is not over. I used to think time, change, and memories were unrelated strands of the human condition. However, they are inseparable. Time is not positive or negative. Change is not positive or negative. Memory is not positive or negative. There's only my perception of them. I can't change my dad. I can only learn to change myself.